peaceful protester, Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on. The judge is going to get it on. Mayhem's over there. He's got some news. We'll talk to Aldo, who's on the scene. So just so people can put stuff into perspective, because I think when people watch the news who live in parts unknown, they think, oh, Los Angeles is burning or something like that. Los Angeles is big and sprawling, and there's places where you would have no idea there were even any unrest whatsoever. There are places in Los Angeles where you wouldn't think black people were invented yet. Certain places, safe places, good. I mean, different places. But you can go to La Cañada. You can go to parts of Orange County. You can go like it, and all you see, you don't see any graffiti. You don't see anything. You just see nice people walking their dogs.
We call it Los Angeles as a collective,
right?
But the reality is much different.
Right. What you guys are seeing on TV around the country is downtown L.A. It's the stretch of the 110 freeway that goes through downtown. People blocking.
The 101, yeah.
101. Yeah, they keep saying the 101, but I think they're talking about the 110 through downtown.
There's a connector.
Yeah, it's all in the same place. All right, first things first. My attack crows would break up that fucking group of crazed Mexicans and sympathetic white people in a millisecond. You're stopping the freeway. It is hard enough. I had a friend, we're over on the Valley. She had to get to LAX for like a flight from the Valley like yesterday at like 7. No can do. You're fucking up people's lives. My crows, done. Broken up. Number one. Number two, as I think about it, it pretty much works this way in life. What the cops have is like the threat of lethality. They don't have the numbers. The crowd has the numbers. So there's 1,000 people marching or riding or doing whatever, but there's only 100 cops. But the cops have guns. And there's the threat of you getting shot or something painful, negative, maybe causing death or severe injury from the small group. So if you want a guy can hold up a bank because there could be 30 people in the bank and one guy can hold up the bank, but because he's got a gun.
Yes.
But if everyone in the bank knows he can't use that gun, no more bank robbery. Mayhem,
good
go
metaphor.
kick that guy's ass. Well, he's got a gun, yeah, but he can't use it. All right, well, now we know.
Nice sweet double leg into the money pile.
Right. So, the money pile. I don't know if you've been in a bank in a while.
I haven't.
But here's the point. Once the word gets out that the cops cannot use their guns, then it just becomes numbers.
And think of the poor Waymos.
Oh, my God. The robot cars always suffer. It's like divorce.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is now one guy with a gun can't rob a bank because there's 30 people in the bank and they'll just take him down. Now it's going to take 31 people to rob a bank because there's 30 people in the bank. So the cops are overwhelmed now because in the past there'd be 100 cops and 1,000 riders and someone would go Kent State and shoot somebody on a lawn and people would start running. But they're now walking up to the cops and spitting at them, calling them Nazis, which means there's zero fear. And when there's zero fear, now you need numbers. That's the way it works.
Well, I just connected some dots right now in my head that you may be getting your wish come true for a murder of crows to take everybody out because eventually they're going to have little tiny drones and they already have long-range acoustic devices that shoot sound waves at protests. So all your things are coming to fruition. We just got to dress these drones up as crows.
Ooh, yeah, crone-drows.
Birds aren't real. Birds aren't real.
So that's a lot. What's going on is going on in just an isolated, but it's enough to choke off the city and it's enough to hurt people. And it's enough to burn things and so on and so forth. Also, there's an interesting kind of, now Aldo's in the waiting room. All right, here he is. Aldo?
How's it going, Adam? Thanks for having me.
Good. Thanks for carving out some time. Where are you physically right now?
Physically, I'm back at my apartment, just getting recharged to go back out for the rest of the day.
So you're out there all during the weekend, right in the middle of the scrum, correct?
Yeah, I've been out there all weekend. I was there Friday when the initial stuff started outside of the VA clinic and Federal Building. I was in Paramount all day on Saturday, and then I was downtown again Sunday, all day yesterday.
Do you, there's one of your photos went viral. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was one of the protesters or rioters on top of a Waymo car, and it's all over the place right now.
I think we should show that if we have it, because I think we have some of your footage to show. So you went down there. Now, I mean, it's kind of a fine line between blending in and then having people turn on you. And I don't know if you wear a helmet. I don't know if you dress a certain way. I don't know if there's a kind of a urban camouflage. Like, I had an idea. One of my best ideas ever was a jumpsuit that had a plywood print on it. And when the city was all burnt down and the shit was going down and the mob turns on you, you turn against a piece of plywood that's in front of an old liquor store and you blend right in. The crowd goes right past you. So we're looking at the picture of the guy waving the Mexican flag on top of the what looks like a burning Waymo, or a Waymo with a burning Waymo behind him. But anyway, very, very iconic, very amazing. Is that just captured on your iPhone, or are you down there with real equipment?
That's just on my iPhone. Does great shots. It's versatile, has the portrait mode and all that. It keeps me light and on my feet. So with too much equipment, it makes it hard to move around. But it's funny you talking about being incognito. On Friday when I was at the VA clinic, and usually when I go out and I am documenting, I'm there as an independent journalist, I try in most cases, unless I think it's unsafe, to hide my identity, because I'm not hiding who I am. I'm there to document. But I got recognized, and a swarm of protesters, surrounded me. They assaulted me and stole a couple of my items. But since then, Saturday and yesterday, I've been completely incognito for my own safety. And a couple other of my fellow journalists, Cam Higbee, Anthony Cabasa, they've had public, if you want to call them hits, or public messages put out on them, with pictures, doxing them, basically informing the rest of the rioters and protesters, get these guys, get them out of there because of all the things that we're exposing. I think Antifa is starting to get in the mix. Yesterday, when I was taking videos of the rioters breaking up the sidewalk and collecting rocks, which they used for 2 hours to throw at police officers, the rioters started cracking down on people recording. And I imagine by today, they're going to be a lot more vigilant about making sure that independent journalists aren't covering things that make them look unsavory.
Well, it's always this weird dichotomy, because they're there, they have a bullhorn, they're protesting, they're here, they're taking to the streets to be seen. And then when someone puts a microphone in front of their face, they push them off, and it was the same thing with all the free Palestine bullshit. As soon as somebody said, hey, can we talk to you about freeing Palestine? They're like, get out of my face. And it's like, well, I don't really get it, because if you have a point, then make your point. Like, it happens all the time where people go, well, why didn't Anthony Fauci go on Tucker Carlson's show? And the answer is, well, he didn't want to be treated unfairly. It's like, well, make your point. You don't have to be treated. I'll go on The View. I'm not worried about being treated unfairly. I'll make my point. And as long as you don't, edit it, then we'll be fine. Or it's like a hostile environment. Like, look, if your point, whatever your point is, make it. And we're watching video of stuff you took, I'm guessing, which is people grabbing rocks and throwing. People don't really realize that it doesn't take a bullet or a knife wound to kill a person. If you're riding a moped and someone hits you in the head with a rock, you're dead.
Done.
That's how it goes.
These are 10, 20-pound rocks that they were throwing 20 feet down off the overpass. One of the rocks actually ended up striking a police officer, but they were screaming, aim for the head, aim for the head. And I don't want to generalize who these rioters or who these protesters are, because it's such a big mix and it's growing every single day. But so many people out there I was hearing saying, oh, we're just here, school's out, and oh, it's a Sunday, I'm bored. And so while there are a lot of rioters out there that are there because they're passionate about opposing Trump and they really care about the immigration issue, I suspect there's a large amount of people that are out there that are, in their teens or early 20s that are vaguely liberal or that are just, they happen to lean left and have nothing better to do, and so they're getting in on the action.
Yeah.
And they're emboldened. It makes sense. The police officers are not engaging the rioters.
Yeah.
They set up a perimeter. They wait for hours and hours and hours until nightfall or until the rioters move to a different location, and then they will lightly engage. But when people are saying, oh, the escalation, it's getting to a point where the escalation is them not engaging the rioters because it's just giving them this sense of we can do whatever the F we want. And as you can see on screen, this is the result. Bars are being broken into, gas stations, parking lot kiosks burning down. So it's really getting out of control. And for all the people that are saying, well, this is just downtown LA, this isn't widespread. It's like, listen, LA is a big place. Most people in LA were having a normal Sunday, but that has nothing to do with the havoc and the terror that the people and the citizens of downtown LA and adjacent cities are experiencing.
Yeah, I mean, the sad thing is a show of force is really what these people need because they will just do as much as we let them do. And, it's now gone weird with the Democratic politicians that have to sort of take their side. I mean, I basically said, look, I just spent 4 years being lectured by Democrats that there was no National Guard for January 6th and Trump should have dispatched a National Guard because that would have prevented all this. Now they don't want the National Guard here because they're incendiary. Like, is the National Guard good or bad, bitch? Like, which is it? Which is it? It could have prevented the greatest attack since Pearl Harbor, which, by the way, Pelosi should have okayed the National Guard and Miriam Bowser should have okayed the National Guard 3 days ahead when they got the information that we conveniently forgot about. But okay. But is the National Guard good or bad? And the answer is, well, it's good when we can use it for our argument, then bad when we can use it for a different argument. Also, a bunch of guys in uniforms with weapons, I would argue, does not incite the crowd. It tends to clean up the crowd. And also, it's not incendiary. Okay, let's just do your math. Let's do the math. Okay, for the sake of argument, there's 500 cops. All right. Or for the sake of argument, there's 200 cops. Okay. And then somebody says, how about we get another 500 National Guardsmen in here? And then you go, well, that would inflame the situation and agitate the people. Okay. Well, according to your math, if we got rid of the 200 cops, the whole thing would go away. Because if 200 men in uniform is causing some agitation and 1,000 men in uniform is going to make them spin out, well, then why don't we get rid of the 200 men in uniform and it would all go away, right? Or would it get worse? And it would get worse. Now shut up. Sorry, Aldo.
That's what they keep saying, too. They keep saying, well, the LAPD, they can handle riots. They've handled the biggest riots in the country for the history of our country and the history of our nation. Well, you can't have it both ways. Either we need the National Guard or we need some sort of external force to come in and aid them, or the LAPD can handle it themselves. But by the looks of it, they can't. So you got to choose one or the other. You can't just say we don't want help and then continue letting the rioters just run amok on the streets. You either got to handle it or you got to accept help. But not accepting help, I feel like, is unacceptable.
Yeah, and you were talking about, some of your colleagues being doxxed and, covering your face and so on and so forth. And Hakeem Jeffries made this asinine statement a couple days ago about ICE not showing their faces and stuff. It's really, it's interesting. It's an interesting thing. I guess Trump just baits them into taking super retarded stances. We capture it all on film, and then next time there's an election, we're just going to roll out all you guys saying in color and in digital copies a bunch of insane anti-American stuff. I guess that's what he's doing. I think he's baiting them.
He's the king at it. He's the master, if you want to put it that way.
Well, let's play devil's advocate here for a second, because I've been in Los Angeles my whole life. I work construction a lot of my life, and so you work with Hispanic workers. I mean, you work with dudes who work, who come here to work. I never knew which guys were legal, which guys were illegal. The guys I worked with were always just hardworking dudes, and they got along and they were fine and they had enough English and they were this they're just hardworking construction dudes with families and stuff like that. So I'm not going to make an argument for anybody being here illegally, but I also wouldn't make an argument if I wouldn't go to my son, hey, move to Canada, and if they give you any shit, tell me, I'll throw a brick at them. You know what I mean? It's like they got rules, they're sovereign, they have a law, they have a border. No one gets to just move to Canada, and every liberal asshole in the world would understand if I just went, I'm moving to Canada, fuck Canada. They go, no, you don't live there. You got to get documented. You got to figure it out. They have laws. Sorry. Like, they would understand that concept. They would understand that concept if I said, I'm just moving to Mexico. They'd understand it.
Right.
So I don't want anybody here illegally, but I do have an order of people I'd like to get rid of. And I want the hardcore guys, the human traffickers and the gangbangers and stuff. They can go first. And then at some point, I'll get to the guy who I worked construction with all those years ago, and then I'll have certain questions like, how long? 20 some odd years. You pay taxes? Okay. Do you use the system much? Are you a burden on the system? Your kids speaking English? Like, I would have a little wiggle room with those guys. Let's go bad to benign.
Reagan gave amnesty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. A lot of people think that, a lot of the right-wingers or conservatives are heartless. And, what I tell people is I actually have a lot of sympathy when you hear these stories of, a mother and teenager were pulled over and now they're being deported. I do have sympathy. It's a horrible situation, but it would be almost like if I started driving at the age of 12 and I never got a license, and then I got pulled over at 25 and said, well, I've been driving for, 13 years. Why are you pulling me over now? And it's like, well, my sympathy is that the kid can drive. He's doing great, but he never took the responsibility to go and get his driver's license. It's an unfortunate situation, but the onus is on the person. It's not on the system for enforcing those laws. And a lot of these stories that we're hearing, it's, they're getting deported after being pulled over. And then you read further down, and it's the police officers were unable to communicate with either of them because they speak no English. And you find out they've been here for 40 years. And it just makes you question, like, where are these people and what communities have they been able to function for 20, 30 years? So it's just emblematic of a much bigger problem. But I think you're right. Yeah, I want to start with the criminals, and then we'll work our way down to the construction workers for sure.
Well, you're right in that when you come over, when you recreate your homeland, and you're not really doing yourself any favors. So you flee Mexico, or you flee Nicaragua, or you flee El Salvador, or you flee anywhere, Ghana. You just flee because you have a system there, a mentality, and so on and so forth. And then you come here and you essentially recreate it. And then when you drive through, like, I've lived in the Valley my whole life, when you go to real deep Valley, Mexico, and you hear the music and you see the garbage and the graffiti and the sort of world, you go, well, this isn't any better than your old place. You just you recreated your old place here, and that's where the assimilation part comes in. We're looking at I don't know what we're looking at a sign. I can't read it.
Born and raised in Los Angeles. Deport me? Where are you going to deport me? Back to the hood?
Yeah, I know.
Pretty clever.
Everyone's righteous, by the way, now. But all right, you can stop the pictures for a second. Homes.com. Well, some might say Homes.com is the best home shopping site, period. It may be because Homes.com's super comprehensive, transparent agent directory Or maybe it's that homes.com is the only site that always directly connects you with the listing agent who knows the home the best. Perhaps it's because homes.com has the most in-depth neighborhood content of any home shopping site that's extensively researched to highlight the personality of each neighborhood. Homes.com goes above and beyond to bring home shoppers the in-depth info they need to find the right home. That's why I love Homes.com. Homes.com, we've done your homework. Meter. Meter's the number one wireless meat thermometer in the world with over 72 million cooks completed via the app. It's funny, I was just talking to my car guy's working on one of my race cars, and he was like, hey, I want to talk to you about Meter because I hear it's great. And I was like, yeah, it is. They're a great sponsor and a great product. Meter is the one kitchen tool you need to always ensure that you nail your weekend steaks. Whole roasted chicken and big holiday cooks like turkey, prime rib, every single time it works with Meter. Undercooked and overcooked proteins, never heard of them. I got Meter. Meter is like having a chef in your pocket that allows you to never mess up any protein again. It provides real-time alerts, step-by-step recipe instructions, and provides accurate predictions around when your food is going to be done, and perfectly done at that. You want to get Meter, especially for Father's Day. Am I right, Dawson?
All meters are on sale up to 30% off now through June 18th on meter.com. Use promo code METERADAM for an extra 10% off to take advantage of the deals today.
For the good of the group that is fleeing something and coming here, I would argue do not recreate what you're fleeing. Embrace this, join this. There's a reason you want in. And that reason is because for whatever reason, our system is better than your system. So do not do a facsimile of your system inside of our system. Join our system.
Right. I don't think fruit stands and different flavors of tacos is worth the civil unrest that we're seeing. No amount of culinary diversity is worth civil unrest and is worth millions of dollars in public property damage. I'm going to take the homogenous society over culinary experiences every day of the week.
I know. And again, in a world of Los Angeles of nothing but codes, as I've said, when Jimmy Kimmel and my friend Adam Perry Lang opened a restaurant in Hollywood several years ago, they had an idea for a sandwich takeout. It'd be a restaurant, but if you wanted like a good beef dip sandwich, they'd have the window there. And I happened by it early on when they were opening up to eat, and I said, why is the window closed? I thought people were going to come up and order sandwiches at the window. And Adam Perry Lang, the owner, said, well, we need like a reverse fan thing that when we open the window, the fan kicks on and blows out, so like a fly can't fly in. And ours isn't up and running yet, and we can't get a pass from the health inspector until we get the reverse fan going, and we can't get signed off, so we can't use the sandwich window. And I'm like, there's a guy 4 feet away cutting pineapple with a rusty machete, and there's a bunch of flies on it. And this old lady's peeling a mango with her teeth right here. No one gives two shits about it. So do we have rules or don't we have rules, LA County? I was looking at, I also have a thing which I think Democrats, at least Democrat politicians, are sort of racist in an ultimate way. It's the soft bigotry of low expectation, Ronald Reagan kind of way. It's like when they start talking about, well, these people don't have access to IDs and black people can't get checking accounts. Like, are you trying to help them? Or are you treating them like they're some indigenous chimp or something? You know what I mean? Like, it sounds sad the way you're talking about it. They need to hydrate outside Atlanta to vote, but they can't have any water. Well, they can bring their own water if they like. Like, you're treating them like they're savages almost, or something is wrong with them. And I'll circle back to something before your time, Aldo, or you're just, God, you were in diapers. When was Katrina? What year was Katrina?
06.
Maybe earlier.
Really? 5?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It was around then. I was a champion in white. 05. Yeah.
Right. All right. So, Aldo, you were 5. Still in diapers. All right. During Katrina in New Orleans, a lot of the folks who couldn't make their way to the safety or shelter, didn't have rich family in Florida, they ended up in the Superdome.
Yeah.
In the Louisiana Superdome, New Orleans Superdome. Okay.
Where the Saints play.
Yeah, where the Saints play. They ended up there. And so it ended up being like a whole bunch of just poor black people living in a dome stadium. Sounds like a good sitcom to me. But all these reports, and you don't remember, Aldo, but all these reports came out, which is they are raping each other on the 50-yard line. They're killing each other. They're throwing each other like off the edge. Where are the police? It was all like
Joe Rogan said they were eating each other.
They're eating each other. Where are the police? And I was like, and all the dumb white people went, yeah, who's watching these people? And I was like, oh, you think of them like animals. Like if you took, like you're a zookeeper, and if someone said, well, you take the tigers and the gorillas and then the emus and put them all in one cage, someone would go, what? No, you're crazy. And I'm like, these are just people who are living, sheltering in this dome. But you think someone is being raped like on the 50-yard line and the rest of the people are just standing around? Like, you think people are being murdered? And that's a completely and utterly racist thought. But there was all these.
It's like this virtue that's inspired and motivated by, I don't know, like naive bigotry.
It's naive bigotry.
White savior complex.
Right. And it's also, you think of them as animals. You really do. Because you go like, well, who's going to do something? You take all these people, you put them in the same place, and they're going to rape and stab each other. That's what they do. There was all this talk. It turns out, well, it was all the same liberal media because they wanted to get W. I think it was W at the time. But either way, one person OD'd while they were in the stadium, and one person killed themselves by jumping off the top rope. That was it. All the rape and murder wasn't happening. It turned out it was a bunch of liberal, white, rich CNN reporters that think of them as animals. And now I'm thinking, fast forward to now, when one of these politicians is talking about the National Guard showing up and how it's going to agitate these people, it's going to be inflammatory and it's going to agitate and it's incinerary. It's like, oh, you think of these people as animals, and if these people show up, they'll get agitated and start biting other people. Like, I don't know.
From his footage, they look well agitated.
Pre-agitated.
Yeah, and I'm an expert at agitation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me, Adam, of like when you see like a white person on Twitter getting punched for like saying the N-word, and all the comments are like, oh, well, he knew it was coming. And you get to ask yourself, like, is there any word in the English dictionary that, would justify committing assault on any other person? But in the eyes of these white liberals, it's like, well, you had it coming to you. What did you expect when you did that around that person?
Yeah. No, you're real. That's pure racism. Like, yeah, you can't expect a black citizen to control their fists if you say this word. Right. Like, like someone called me cracker. I'd take out a screwdriver and try to stab him in the neck. Yeah. 3 deaths, so it says in the Superdome. I was off by 1. 2 elderly medical patients who were suffering from existing illness. All right, 2 pretty sick people, probably couldn't get their meds, and a man who committed suicide by jumping off the. Yeah, that's the guy I thought. So no stabbing, no raping, no nothing. I wonder, Dawes, if you could find one of those old stories from CNN, but. Now we fast forward to these people. If they see the National Guard, they're not capable of processing. It'll be like a bull seeing a red beach towel. They're just going to charge because they're dumb and brown and out of their gourds. They're not smart and white like we are.
Yeah, and you have the white higher ups protecting them. I mean, like I talked to a police officer last night when I was leaving at around 1 or 2 a.m. And I said, listen, it looks like your guys' hands are tied when you guys are acting with tons of restraints. Why are you not engaging? Because from my perspective, like I said, engagement feels like the only thing that would prevent more chaos. And he said, listen, yeah, we can protect ourselves immediately, but the orders to engage or not are coming from above us and are coming from higher up. And so it's really hard to see and witness just right in front of my eyes, them watching people commit crimes, them watching them trying to assault law enforcement officers and doing absolutely nothing.
Well, I'm with Trump in that if you spit in the face of anyone, they get to swing on you immediately. I don't care who it is. I got no problems with it. Let me tell you how consistent I am. When my daughter, my precious, beautiful daughter, when she was 3, she spit in the face of her nanny. And her nanny, I found out because the nanny came to me and tried to apologize because my nanny hit her right after she got spit in the face. And I said, good. And then I said, well, I guess she won't be spitting in your face ever again. And the answer is nope, never spit in anybody's face ever again because she got whacked the second she spit in her nanny's face. So, yes, it does prevent things. And by the way, it's good for the person who does the spitting to learn that there are consequences to spitting in someone's face. It's important because one day they're going to get killed doing something stupid.
Well, as an expert at subduing people, when you subdue somebody, it's not pretty, and they're trying to keep the optics real rosy, like, we're a friendly police force, but the reality is that, you're going to crack some skulls if you want to put this down.
Well, here's my thing with everything, and people are always... I have a bottom line, which is a kind of an ethos, which is if you jump into your neighbor's yard to steal their barbecue, you're probably going to be able to get away with it, or you could get shot, or something in between. Their dog could bite you, or who knows what. Either way, you jumped in their yard. And the second you landed in their yard, you just spun the cosmic roulette wheel, bitch. Like, we don't know. Now, there's an 85% chance you're just going home with a barbecue. But there's another chance that you're getting shot or getting mauled by a pit bull.
Yeah.
But either way, you spun the wheel when you landed in their backyard.
For sure.
And if you want to go out and push against cops or spit in anyone's face or grab a brick and throw it at a cruiser or whatever, if you want to get into that scrum, you want to leave your apartment and enter that scrum, then you've spun the wheel.
I think you said it was mostly young guys, right? That were out there. It's like, so I remember being a wild man, like when I was a kid, I could be convinced to do something like that. And I see if somebody would snatch somebody's cousin's friend's grandma from the sewing factory, I might be inclined to do some rock tossing. I get it. Devil's advocate can play it, but there's also a chance you're going to get smashed.
Yeah. Well,
no, I really appreciated you saying that, Adam, because that's 100% true. And if you're in the scrum and you get shot with a rubber bullet, you can cry because it hurt, but don't cry that you got shot in the first place. They are giving every warning. They're doing these Amber Alerts, get out of town, flying helicopters, telling people to disperse. And if you stick around, don't act like it was done to you, that you did it to yourself. And a lot of people, they're getting on Twitter and trying to make it seem like the police are the agitators. No, they are giving every warning in the book to these people.
We got a clip of Maxine Waters. Maxine Waters is 86 years old. I remember exactly where I was when I met her. I did Politically Incorrect with her with Bill Maher back when you, Aldo, were 0 years old.
A twinkle in his father's nutsack?
Yes, you were a 0. I mean, could have been 1, could have been -1. I just do that show all the time. But the point is I met her. We talked backstage. I had a couple of ideas for her. And I then went back and did Loveline that night and reported to Dr. Drew she's an insane woman. She's a crazy person. I talked to her. She's a nut. And then labeled her Aunt Esther from Sanford and Son.
I remember.
And that's what I called her. I've always called her Aunt Esther from Sanford and Son. And by the way, she was a spry 61 at the time.
Yeah.
All right, so this is her now. She's 61. Her wig's 9 months old. And she's going to go yell at the National Guardsmen, who are 22-year-old dudes who didn't sign up for this shit and are now going to get yelled at by a crazy woman.
What are you going to do? You going to shoot some kid who's afraid of you and run? You going to shoot an elected official? If you shoot me, you better shoot straight. I don't know why.
All right, let's pause there. What if you did shoot at Maxine Waters and you missed her? That's it? Now, death through strangulation by... What's the off chance you miss this old bag of bones, this fucking wig? What's she going to do if you miss? Taking you down? Okay.
She got a good single leg, as I remember.
Good single leg, and she pulls out a stiletto, just guts you. All right, I'm sorry. There's more Maxine. Sorry, she's great. She's standing in front of National Guardsmen who are, by the way, they're the National Guardsmen for this country. This country. They work here. They're the National Guard. They're people that protect this country who did not make any decisions to come out here. They were dispatched.
They're also just staging and standing down.
They're just standing down and staging, and their average age is 22 and a half, and they have no fucking idea who Maxine Waters is, and they were just told to come here and stage.
And as far as I know, the National Guard hasn't done anything.
They haven't done anything.
No.
And by that, they don't. I wish they could shoot a few people, but clean things up. But we'll listen to her, sir.
The governor was not contacted. This is Trump and his outrageous attempt to not only target our sanctuary city, but to frighten us and intimidate us. This is wrong, and I hope that none of you will use those guns to shoot anybody. There's no reason to shoot anybody. Don't allow them to make your service in a service where you're
all right. Anyway, look, there's no reason to shoot anyone who's not doing anything they don't deserve to be shot for. But then there's a version where you shoot people who are going to stab somebody. So you shoot them. She's fucking nuts. Everything she says is get out, get in their face, go argue with them, yell at them at the restaurant. Like, she's so fucking horrible. And I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. This is the ultimate, my white privilege. This is what white privilege is. Because if there was some white version of her, I'd go, fuck that old bitch. I'm not going to vote for her. But black people have to, because they have to support whatever. And that's the real problem that's going on in the black community. You have to support corrupt, crazy old women whose policies destroy your city that you're living in, but you have to. You have to keep supporting because she's a sister. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Woo! O'Reilly Auto Parts, you know the jingle. Great business. They're in the business of keeping your car on the road. O'Reilly Auto Parts offers friendly, helpful service and the parts knowledge you need for all your maintenance and repairs. Whether you're a car aficionado or an auto novice, it doesn't matter. O'Reilly's there for you. I've always used O'Reilly. They've been there's one up on Foothill in La Crescenta I used to go to when I lived out there, and there's another one in North Hollywood I used to go to, maybe off of Laurel Canyon back in the day. Always kept my cars running with O'Reilly. Now I use it as more of a hobby than a necessity, but either way, O'Reilly's where you go. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today, or you can visit us online at O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. Open phone. Look, if you're running a business and you let a call slip through the cracks, you might as well just hand them your wallet. Just hand it to the next guy. That's why you need open phone. Every time you miss a ring, that's cash walking out the door. You need a phone system that actually works as hard as you do. Keeps you in the loop day or night. That's why you got to get Open Phone. Open Phone is the #1 business phone system that streamlines and scales your customer communications. So, whether you're a one-person operation, drowning in calls and texts, or have a large team that needs better collaboration tools, Open Phone is a no-brainer. It's Open Phone, right, Dawson?
OpenPhone is offering our listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/Adam. That's OPENPHONE.com/Adam. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers.
The activism is never pragmatic. It's never rooted in like tangible results. It's never, hey, how do we fix the problems in our community? Get married, go to church, get a good paying job, don't have kids. It's always, well, we just have to love each other more.
Right.
And then ICE, why do you have to do this? I was recording people all day yesterday yelling at ICE agents or yelling at the police officers. You don't have to do this. You can lay down your weapons and go home and join us.
Yeah.
And I just need people to come back to reality. Whatever your activism is, whichever way you lean, just can we talk in real figures here and in real tangible results?
Nah, we prefer vibes.
I got one other J6 analogy, and I'm asking, although I'm never really asking anything, I'm telling all the time, but I saw hours of footage of all the Capitol policemen on January 6th with the committee being brought up in front of the committee, and then they would film them like holding back the tears because of how fearful they were with the rioters and everything else. First thing, I know this sounds horrible, but I'm always like, hey, man, if you can't handle some fucking scrum, don't be a fucking cop. Like, you signed up, you trained, you got a helmet, you got some pepper spray.
I've coached those guys before. They always thank me because I give them good footwork.
Yeah, that's your job. But yeah. I know there's a lot of theater going on here with the January 6th committee, and these people were traumatized. And then what you do is you count any suicide of a Capitol policeman as a murder that happened on January 6th, as you're trying to pad your numbers because there is no murders. Oh, yeah, one chick got shot in the face by one of your guys from 6 feet away, but that's the only number. That's the only fatality. So you got to try to pad it on. And they sit up there and they talk about how it's going to be years of therapy and about how they can't sleep at night, emotionally destroyed because of the push. Okay. A small percentage of them were in the actual scrum. The others were doing a guide of the rotunda for these people and opening doors. But all right, they've all been horribly scarred. According to the Democrats, these guys have been scarred for life for having to clash with rioters. How come I never hear any sympathy for anyone who's getting spit in the face on at a BLM thing or getting pushed up or a cop getting a bucket of water dumped on his head or a rock tossed at him in LA? How come there's zero sympathy for that guy? Like, what is, you tell me the difference. You're a cop. You're in Washington, you're in the rotunda and people are pushing the door and you're pushing back, or you're in the middle of Hoover Street in downtown LA and there's a guy pushing at you, calling you a pig and a Nazi and spitting on you. What is there physically some difference between the trauma? So zero trauma for the guys being called Nazis repeatedly and spit in the face on, because that's out on the street and those guys are BLM or Antifa, so who cares? But maximum trauma for the guy in the rotunda leading the tour. Okay. That's such a consistent thought, assholes. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree. I will say, though, I feel for the officers because they do have their hands tied. And in my opinion, I mean, no matter who you are, getting screamed at and yelled at by dysgenic rioters for 12 hours a day is pretty draining. And you can see it on their faces. They just want to do their jobs, but they're just being berated. It's pretty awful.
Aldo, where do we go to see your footage?
You guys can find me on Twitter, is mostly where I'm posting live updates. It's just my name, Aldo Buttazzoni. I'll be on the ground in a few hours, and I'll be reporting tonight. So follow me there.
You know, I don't like Americans breaking off into groups by nationality, but okay, Paisan. Nice work.
Hey.
Thanks, Aldo. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Adam.
All right. So maybe Aldo can check in with us from time to time. Let us know what's going on. I think I've said about all we need to say about that, but if there's more comes up, we'll keep you posted. I got thoughts about other things. I think I realized the best smelling place in the world. I mean, in terms of, Mayhem, I don't know what kind of diet you're on, but it's tough when you smell good food,
Oh, yeah.
Smell like cinnamon pastries or something.
Yeah.
Can I tell you? Panda Express. I walked in at Panda Express today. I was getting lunch for my guys. We're doing some work. And I just walked in and I was like,
a heavenly MSG.
Well, my theory, and I've learned it from being at enough convention centers, is that bad pizza smells better than good pizza. Good pizza tastes better, but the bad stuff wafts. Like, it just smells more pizza-y from further away.
Yeah.
And bad Chinese food smells better. Like when you go into a good Chinese food restaurant, they got poached fish and stuff. You don't walk in and go,
yeah.
That Panda, it's nothing but orange chicken and greasy this and beef and broccoli and all the noodles and the twice fried rice.
It's hitting your lizard brain.
It hits my lizard brain.
Yeah.
Yes, it hits me right in the reptilian brain. Exactly. Like I just walked in. I was like,
I know.
I became like a dog from a 70s cartoon where I was just floating. And the siren song was beckoning me
Fat
toward
carb
the noodles.
Sugars. It's all like in one little potent blend up your nose hole.
It's the grease, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the carby. It's the orange chicken right next to the noodles, and it's all just...
And it has a touch of sugar in there that floats around.
It's sugar, it's grease, it's carb, it's fat, and you just go... And I just walk in and I said, okay, man, you got to maintain, bro. You got to maintain. You're getting your guys food. You're not getting you food. And then, boy, man, I was a good boy. I saw one kettle of just steamed broccoli. Just steamed broccoli.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, I could get that. That would be good. But I'm looking at the noodles and the rice and the stuff, and I'm like, oh. So I order for all the guys. At the end, I go, just give me just a thing of broccoli, just the broccoli. And the guy goes, oh, okay. And he scoops in the beef and broccoli with all the sauce and everything. And I was like,
you talk about my diet. I ate that this weekend, exactly that. I was filming a show in Branson, Missouri, and that was the only food around. So I had Pan Express.
What'd you get?
Beef and broccoli.
Beef and broccoli.
Oh, mostly have teriyaki chicken. Just grilled. But just grilled. It was nice. And they have some kind of bed of, I don't know, maybe I'm talking about the wrong place. But it was great. It was fine.
Well, I realize in the place, like if you're on a diet and there's certain places that are tough, like you go into the market and they got the hot deli counter and you smell the chicken and stuff like that. But Panda Express, man,
you're right.
You can't get through the smell of that place.
They got it down.
All right. So let's see. The other thing I wanted to get into as well is it's funny that all these Mexican flags swinging around and everyone is talking about they love Mexico. It's always great. They come here, they love the place they came from, but they fled their place because it's a shithole. But now they're here, but now they miss their old place. I don't know. Imagine this. Imagine what a horrible, horrible girlfriend you would be. Okay, imagine this. Imagine you have a girlfriend, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, this girlfriend, she left her last dude, Todd, because Todd was no count, Todd didn't work, Todd didn't make any money, and Todd beat on her and was an alcoholic and had a gambling problem, right? And then she fled into your arms for safety and security, but never fucking stopped talking about Todd. Never stopped talking. I got a Todd bumper sticker I'm going to put on my car. I'm going to put a Todd's headshot in the window of my new apartment and stuff. And you're like, I'll take care of you. And they're like, yeah, but man, that Todd, I miss Todd. Todd had a recipe for lasagna. I think we should make that tonight. We should eat Todd's food. So it's like, bitch, you fucking left Todd because Todd's a piece of shit. Now you're with me. So you're not putting up the fucking Todd headshots and we're not making his recipes for lasagna. Todd's an asshole. Okay? Or, you love Todd so much, I'll send you back to Todd. Oh, no, I'm going to set your cruiser on fire if you send me back to Todd. Okay, so which is it? You come here, you fucking blend in. Dawson, we get that clip from the Hammer? Yeah, I made this film 20 years ago, and I basically laid it out in the movie The Hammer.
Hey, Jerry, the best boxer I know, man.
I'm the only boxer you know, but thanks, buddy.
Jerry, va para las Olimpiadas mañana. Alexis Arguello, Nicaragua.
Rosendo Álvarez, Nicaragua. Ricardo Mayorga, Nicaragua. Nicaragua número uno.
Nicaragua!
You guys sure seem to love Nicaragua, except for the part where you risked your lives not to live there anymore.
Muchachos,
All right. It was addressed by the Ace Man almost 20 years ago in a film. Yeah. All right. I think I made my point.
I think you did.
All right. The other thing I wanted to get into, but bringing up Mexico and how much they love Mexico. I don't know why I was thinking about this, but I'm actually going to say this, and I have no idea. I have no idea what Mexico's military is capable of. I'm guessing their cartels are more well-armed than their military. I don't know. I don't know anything about Mexico. I don't know if Mexico has a jet fighter.
They do.
They do?
Yeah.
I don't know if they have, like, a destroyer.
I'm not aware of that.
I mean, what the Mexican Navy, I don't know. But here's my point. And if this is true, I'd like to then convey this to Scheinbaum over there in Mexico or whoever. Their president is a Jewish woman. I don't know who. I don't know what her deal is. I don't know any Mexican that has a last name of like Scheinbaum or something. That's just crazy, right?
I mean, yeah.
All right. Okay. Do you think? Now we know America. And Dawson, you live there, so I got to ask. The American military could obviously take out Mexico in a matter of a day.
Yeah, minutes, I think.
But what if it was just San Diego? Do you think San Diego could take Mexico? Like just what we got. Got a couple Apache helicopters. We got some Navy SEALs
With
there.
everything at Pendleton?
Yeah, Pendleton, yeah. And down south, right? They got a lot of equipment. They got there's a port, so they got the Navy, they got the Marines, and up at the top of San Diego, right? So they got a whole and a training camp.
I don't think that the whole of what we would need to do that is in and around San Diego. Honestly, I see your point.
Do you think we need more than
I think we need more. I think it depends on what's there.
We might need parts of El Cajon?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
We're going to need the entire East County. And the unincorporated areas and count in Lakeside.
Yeah. All right, I'd be curious if we could handle them.
I think we could pay the cartel to join in, and then we'd be over with.
We'd recruit. All right. We got news.
We do.
We'll take ourselves a break, come back and do that right after this. Simply Safe. Well, you want to feel safe at home. I mean, that's half of what home is, feeling safe. And Simply Safe helps you do that. Traditional home security systems only take action after someone has already broken in. That's too late. Simply Safe is getting the new standard in home security. Yes, they're the benchmark now. They always have been. Simply Safe's Active Guard outdoor protection can help prevent break-ins before they happen. That's right. Before they happen, with AI-powered cameras backed by live professional monitoring agents. They monitor your property and they detect suspicious activity before that suspicious activity ends up in your living room. Monitoring plans start affordably around $1 a day. These guys are great sponsors. We've all used them here. And when you move, you pick up your system and it goes with you. It's Simply Safe, right, Dawson?
You can get 50% off your new Simply Safe system with professional monitoring and your first month free at simplysafe.com/Adam. Just head to simplysafe.com/Adam to claim your discount and make sure your home is safe this year. Keep your home, your family, and your peace of mind protected with Simply Safe. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Ridge. Yeah, great Father's Day gift. Now, it's a great wallet. It's not a wallet like Grandpa's wallet. And I don't know. I mean, my dad's not with us anymore, but I don't know what he had to put inside his Ridge, but it's going to be a great gift for your dad, or maybe you get it for yourself. With over 50 colors and styles, Ridge wallet isn't just functional, it's personal. Whether you want a sleek black forged carbon fiber look, or a wallet that features your favorite NFL team, or one that just matches your vibe, they've got you covered. Losing your wallet is the worst. Gah, the worst. But with Ridge, they have an AirTag attachment. You'll always know exactly where it is before panic mode kicks in and destroys your weekend. Ridge isn't just about wallets. They create premium, everyday, carry essentials like key cases. Got this one in my hand right now. Suitcases and rings, all built with the same sleek, durable design. Step up to Ridge. Am I right, Dawson?
Right now, just in time for Father's Day, Ridge is having a huge sale. Get up to 40% off your order at ridge.com/Adam. Just head to ridge.com/Adam to find the perfect gift for Dad or yourself. When you check out, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Give Dad the upgrade he deserves this year.
And now, Alcoa presents Definitely Not a Jew on the Adam Carolla Show. Dateline, Skamania County, Washington. A 37 and 59-year-old man were found dead of exposure in Pincho National Forest. The two men were searching for Sasquatch. Definitely not a Jew.
All right. Mayhem's brought some news, and we'll get to it.
Got some news. Good old Twitter beef. Simone Biles calls Riley Gaines sick over criticism of transgender athletes. Yeah, Biles, the most decorated Olympic gymnast in history, called the former college athlete sick and a sore loser on a post on X on Friday night.
Yeah, I was following this too. I think Simone may have lost this one.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a weird thing, which is people are not protesting against transgendered people or transgendered kids. Nobody I know cares about transgendered people. I'm trying to think of Bruce's whatever. Bruce
Caitlyn.
Nobody I know cares about Caitlyn Jenner. Does anyone care about Caitlyn Jenner? Caitlyn Jenner's basically a Republican and hangs out in the Republican circles, and nobody has two thoughts about Caitlyn Jenner because they don't care because it's their business.
But if she ran the 400, we'd have something to say.
Then we would have something to say. So it's not a stance against transgendered people. It's a stance against biological men winning in female sports. That's all it is. I know everything is a fucking hate crime to you guys, but that's all anyone I know. Now, maybe there's a small subset of people that think, it's an abomination against God's will or whatever, but that's not who the mainstream is. The mainstream wants to see, there's the Olympics. The Olympics has male boxing and it has female boxing. And so what we would like is to watch females and the best females in the world box, and then the one who wins the gold gets her hand held up. But we don't want to see James Quick Tillis. Remember James Quick Tillis?
No, I know that name, but I never even
We don't want to
watched them.
see 80s heavyweight James Quick Tillis put on a skirt and go down and whoop up in the ladies department. That's not what we want, and that's all we're saying. If James Quick Tillis wants to wear a skirt and high heels all day, every day, no one has any thoughts about it. But if he would like to compete,
put on some boxing boots.
If we put on some boxing boots, yeah, there he is. There's James. Show me James in his prime with his shirt off. I mean, James had.
I do know this guy.
James had a good, had a solid career, lots of wins. But no, we don't want to see him box the ladies.
It seems like Simone is infected by this inclusive energy where everybody needs a place. And she even says in her tweet that making sports inclusive or creating a new avenue. But how are you going to find that many girls, boys to play softball?
Well, okay. The first thing, and this is how you know it's not real, there's no controversy going the other direction. If a lady finds herself to be a man and would like to go compete with the boys, nobody has anything to say about it.
Jacked on steroids. Just a monstrosity of a woman.
Listen, if Chaz Bono wanted to join the rugby team, and actually I've seen pictures of Chaz Bono, could probably be pretty effective in that scrum, but if Chaz Bono wants to join the rugby team, then Chaz can do it. And no one has anything to say about it because we don't think he has an unfair advantage over the other fellas. We think it's the opposite. So Simone Biles says, "You're truly sick." And by the way, this is always the husband. She's married to an NFL guy, Simone Biles. She's probably like a 6'4" outside linebacker. He should have taken her fucking phone and just set it on the kitchen counter where she couldn't get it. Thank you. She says, "You're truly sick." She's saying this all right. First thing, okay, look, first off, when a biological boy starts 5 games for the girls' softball team and goes 5-0, gives up 2 runs in 5 games with an ERA of like 0.1, you saying I don't think is fair to the ladies on the other team doesn't make you sick. It makes you the opposite of sick. Whatever it is, it's not your sick individual. I mean, maybe you're controversial. Maybe you have thoughts, but you're not, go back to the tweet. You're not truly sick as someone who kidnaps runaway prostitutes and is making a skin suit out of them. That's what sick is. You thinking boys shouldn't start on the mound against girls is nowhere near that. You can disagree with it. It may be different than what you think, but it does not encroach on territory of you're truly sick. So you basically, Simone, you lost it in the first 3 words. All of this campaigning because you lost a race, straight up sore loser. Well, she raced a guy that was 6'3" and a male who took. And by the way, Simone Biles should understand how many hours in the gym or how many hours in the pool it takes starting at age 6 to get to that level. She knows of when you're competing for the NCAA championship. At some point, you're now 21 and you've got 15 years of fucking in the pool at 5 a.m. Like, you understand. And to have a guy take that away, that makes you a sore loser.
It seems like she hasn't thought it through.
She hasn't thought it through.
Just on the surface, she wants to be nice to all trans people because she's friends with them. Then I get it, but you can't compete together.
You should be. All right, so she says you're a sore loser. You should be uplifting the trans community and perhaps finding a way to make sports inclusive or creating new avenues. She's not Bowie Kuhn.
But this is just crazy. This is real crazy to make us care about women's softball. I know.
Well, look, she doesn't. Riley Gaines doesn't have to look for ways to uplift the trans community. She just has to say when a dude strikes out a bunch of chicks, it's not fair to the other chicks. She doesn't have to invent a new sport or a new category.
Right. He's throwing 98 mile per hour heaters underhand.
Right. Maybe a transgender category in all sports. Again, there's not going to be enough.
I would watch that league.
I would watch 100%. It too. Yeah. But here's basically what all Americans need to know. It's like there are certain things that are kind of put upon you, and the things that are kind of put upon you, I believe in. Like when you go to and you walk across the intersection here. I've lived here my whole life. When I was a kid, the curb went all the way around the corner. Now there's a ramp, basically, sloped. So you can then go in your wheelchair across the street, right? Mm-hmm. And then you go, okay, And part of me goes, well, fuck that guy. I don't want to spend that money, make himself a ramp, let him figure it out himself. But he didn't ask to be put in a wheelchair. Maybe he's born with cerebral palsy or something. He's got something. ADA. All right. Okay, fine. Then we need to take care of those people because they were born that way. But if your choice is to get in a wheelchair, then I'm not going to cry for you if there's certain shit you don't get to do.
Yeah.
And you may want to become a woman or man when you're junior in high school, and that's fine. It's between you and your God. Go figure it out. But it does mean that it can be limiting. You know, like you can go, here's how society works. I like a full beard and I like long ass hair. I like long hair and a full beard. Okay. I also like to work the food lines in the cafeterias. Okay. We have to put this net on your beard and your hair. And then you go, I don't want to do that, man. It's like, well, you don't have to work at the cafeteria, or you can shave your head. If you decide to become a woman when you're 15 and a half, it may limit you on certain things. You may not get to play on this team or that team. Like, you may have to make a choice. Not everyone gets to do everything. You made a choice, which is you wanted to live your life as a woman. That's fine. But your softball career is over. I'm fine with that. I'm fine. All right. So anyway, then I think...
it went back and forth
Went
here
back
a little
and
bit.
forth. Now, then Riley Gaines clapped back. This is actually so disappointing. I agree. It's not my job or the job of any woman to figure out how to include men in our spaces. Very good. You can uplift men stealing championships in women's sports with your platform. You can uplift men?
Yeah, little...
with your platform.
Yeah, with your platform.
You can do this. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was behind the camera arm there. Men don't belong in women's sports, and I say that with my full chest, which still has its titties. I added that. And then Simone Biles had to keep coming back. Bully someone your own size, which would ironically be a male.
I'm just seeing her at home with like a little thimble of wine, you know what I mean, mixing it around and just rage tweeting back and forth with Riley Gaines.
Yeah. She drank a cap full of a Chardonnay and is out of her mind. I saw Riley Gaines. I've met Riley Gaines. Riley Gaines is 5'5.5" and 120
and here comes
pounds.
Riley Gaines.
So I
back, clapping back, and the subtle hint at body shaming. Please, I'm 5'5". Laugh emoji, laugh emoji, laugh emoji, laugh emoji.
Well, also, there's plenty of women in the UFC that are 5'9", and there's plenty of dudes in the UFC that are 5'9".
Yeah, I got a couple of killers at 5'5".
I still think the dude would win that cage fight against the lady over there. But all right. Anyway, this is what we do. But I really feel like Simone Biles is sort of indicative of the crazy woke left and their arguments, which is...
If you watch TikTok all day, sorry to cut you off, but this makes perfect sense. I know girls with the same mentality that, everyone needs to be included. Everyone's the same, but it's like softball. It's a game and it's a sport and men have an advantage. Just sorry.
Well, it's also weird with sports too, because all I wanted to do was play sports. That's all I wanted to do. It's the only thing I was good at. Life was going to be a toil and trouble and horrible. And at some point, sports spat me out. They just went, no more for you. You can't do it. You're not good enough.
But don't you think it
this.
was helpful for your mental health and to make you feel good to do sports? That's the only argument I have in the other direction that makes sense. Is like, this little trans girl, she's a boy, but in her body, and she has the mental capacity, like she's like a woman in her mind, and then she wants to play sports. So that makes me feel kind of empathetic for their situation. But I still don't care about women's softball.
Yeah. Speaking of men and women and softball, I do remember it like it was yesterday when me and Jimmy were playing in a game in Chicago, like sports and rock and jock celebrity.
Yeah. I remember those days, yeah.
And Dave Winfield Dave Winfield he was former Yankee. I think Dave Winfield got, I guess the word, drafted in the NFL and stuff too. Dave Winfield,
just a beast athlete.
Dave Winfield was old school 6'6", 240 dude playing baseball.
Oh wow!
You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Dave Winfield's a big dude, and he was like one of these guys. Well, he could have played forward in the NBA, could have played tight end in the NFL, or he could have played baseball. In which case, why not just be the biggest guy playing baseball rather than a regular sized guy playing football in the NBA? But Dave was playing. And the little girl from The Bachelor was pitching, the first season of Bachelor. So like a little blonde, petite, I can't remember her name, but season 1 of The Bachelor is a little petite, little blonde, and married a fireman in Colorado, as I recall. And we're going to the game, and I remember saying to Jimmy, I go, man, if Dave Winfield really connects with one,
crushes one,
and does a fucking comebacker to the mound, he's going to fucking kill her. He's going to kill her. And then Jimmy, this is I would say this is indicative of my entire life arguing with Jimmy. I have the word Blue Jays written on my screen, but Dave Winfield was a Yankee. May have ended up on the Blue Jays. I don't think so, but I don't know why it says Blue Jays on my screen. But anyway, why does it say Blue Jays on my screen? or don't just write Blue Jays is what I'm saying.
He won the series with the Blue Jays.
All right, but I don't. If it just says the word Blue Jays, I just don't know. But they won the World Series. Dave Winfield was with the Yankees when they won the World Series against the Blue Jays. Okay, again, I could have known that, but I don't. So we're driving. I go, well, he's going to be connected with her, and he's going to kill her. And then Jimmy says, these jocks, they're just having fun. They just choke up on the bat. I go, there's 30,000 people in that stadium.
Get hype.
And when that ball coming in,
muscle
I think they're
memory
trying to
takes over, bud.
Trying to crush that ball.
It's like having to do celebrity boxing. I'm gonna.
Yeah, right. And I was like, I mean, what was the dimensions of Dave Winfield back in the day? I mean, Aaron knows Aaron Judge and stuff, but he was like Aaron Judge 30 years before Aaron Judge was playing. I mean, he was the biggest, baddest dude. He played, looked like an NFL tight end. I said, he's going to kill that woman. He's going to choke up and take a fun swing, poke at it or whatever. I said, okay. I was playing left field. Dave Winfield comes up to bat. I'm just standing there in left field. He crushes a ball. You know when they crush it so hard you don't even move as an outfielder? You just literally you don't even move. I just looked up and just into the night, just whistled as it went past me. And I was like, oh, he ain't swinging? Then 6'6", 220. That was his fucking rookie season. Probably 6'6", 240 by the time he got out of the league.
Yeah.
That's a big baseball dude. And then Jim McMahon. We're in Chicago, and he's Jim McMahon of the Bears, And I'm playing left field, and he gets up there, and he attempts to crush one, but he gets under it just a little bit. And I'm playing left field, and it's drifting toward the stands, but I can it's not in play. It's a foul ball, but it's way up into the night sky with the lights on and everything.
Yeah.
And I was like drifting over there, and everybody in the bleachers, everyone in the foul station there, the seats down there, all fucking yelling at me the entire time that ball's in the air. Don't miss it, Adam. And I realized, I played 1,000 softball games, but I never had a wall of people screaming at me while I was going to take a ball away from their beloved Jim McMahon, which I did. I could play. So I caught that ball. Let's see. Trista. That's the first bet. Little blonde girl. Yeah. It was like the only time. It's like the only time a reality TV thing actually worked out. I think she married the dude. The dude was a fireman. They lived in Colorado.
Season 1.
The one.
Last time it worked out.
The one that worked out. Winfield was a 12-time All-Star, by the way. So he had some pop. Get a little pop in that back.
And luckily, Trista was not decapitated.
All right. Yeah, but he would have killed her. Yeah. What else we got?
Speaking
They're still married. She was the first bachelor.
That's great. That's
it's been
beautiful.
22 years. She's the only story, and maybe it's not a coincidence. Maybe it's that now they're all sort of camera-hungry whores or just doing it to get camera time. Like, it's attracting a new breed, you know?
That's what happens
I
naturally.
think she did it sort of normally. Like, hey, there's
When
this
a
show.
show
and they
starts
wanna
to
meet
get
a man.
popular, because Bully Beatdown Season 1 was just like a regular, like nobody knew, but by 2, 3, everybody was really putting on a face.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Yeah.
I watched the phenomenon unfold. Yeah.
You were there.
Yeah.
This summer, Pluto TV is exploding with thousands of free movies. Summer of Cinema is here. Feel the explosive action all summer long with movies like Gladiator, Mission Impossible, Beverly Hills Cop, Good Burger, and Transformers: Dark of the Moon. Bring the action with you and stream for free from all your favorite devices. Pluto TV. Stream now. Pay never.
Well, speaking of killing, there's a New England serial killer feared stoked by a 13th body found in a small town. Yeah,
13.
Yes, the body of Adriana Suazo, 21, was found by a passerby on June 13th in the woods of Milton, Massachusetts, a suburb 8 miles outside of Boston. But these bodies have been piling up all around that area.
Do we all have the same super sad? I have three now sad serial killer thoughts.
All right.
One is whoever gets killed by the serial killer, I'm always like, well, what were they up to? You know what I mean? Like a little bit of, well, he's focusing on prostitutes or runaways or something.
I had the same thought, so I tried to look in, but there's not a lot of reporting on this yet. The women range in a lot of different ages. That was the thing that shocked me. I had that same thought. Maybe he was picking up. Well, the other thing is
it's still a horrible thought any way you look at it.
I know.
No one's supposed to die, whether they're hitchhiking or prostitutes or hanging out at truck stops. But I know you try to quell it a little.
So this is the youngest one, I guess. The 35-year-old Paige Fannin. There's another 58-year-old Susan Wormser, Denise Leary, 59, and then 56-year-old Michelle Romano. There's
random.
There's random ages, and it's not sure how these all are connected exactly yet. So
the other sad thought I have is times are so weird right now with like what's going on in the Middle East and what's going on here and all that kind of stuff that serial killer sounds sort of quaint. Like it almost sounds like my childhood, you know? Like, I used to think that way about pickpockets. When serial killers were running around, I was going, remember they had pickpockets and that was a thing? And then now it sounds so quaint.
It's a bygone era. With the proliferation of cameras, DNA evidence, it's a whole different ballgame now. It's harder to be a serial killer these days. I'll tell you, it's hard out there.
You know, I still look at it as like almost a throwback crime.
Completely,
you know?
Yeah. They say that the most are usually truck drivers. That's
truck
like the
because
latest.
They cover a lot of ground.
Exactly right. Yeah. Speaking of the Middle East, Israel intercepts a Gaza-bound aid ship detaining Greta Thunberg and other prominent activists.
You know, my thing with the Greta Thunbergs of the world. Also, I'll say something else that sounds bizarre, but it's funny when you can see women at an age. You know, when I first saw Greta Thunberg, she was like 16.
Yeah.
It's like, she could go one of two directions in the looks department. Do you guys know what I'm talking about when you see a woman like at a transitional age? It's not 35. It's like 15 or 16. You go, she could be a fucking hot model when she's 20. Or she might go the other direction.
Frumpy cat lady.
Right, but it's kind of the first my first look at her, I was like, she could go one of two directions. I think she kind of went the sad direction. She didn't go the bikini model direction.
She looks like Raggedy Ann.
Right. But so be it. Now, here's the thing about Greta Thunberg. And I would say this about all of those people. I'd be this way with all of them, and then I would believe them and not fucking hate their guts. If I said to them, look, so where are you on climate? Well, I'm a climate activist. I believe in it I believe that the carbon release and the fossil fuels and whatever. And then I went, oh, okay, so you're for nuclear power then, right? No, I'm totally against it.
All right, then,
Okay. And then where do you come down on Israel and Palestine? Well, of course, I'm with Palestine because Israel's, conducting ethnic cleansing. Okay. And then COVID. You like the lockdowns and the mandatory? Yeah. Big fan of Fauci? Yeah. And you're an expert on, what, ivermectin doesn't work? Yeah. No. And no one's illegal? Right. And the border? Okay. And tax the rich? Okay. Wait a minute. I thought you were a climate activist. Why do I know where you come down on every motherfucking story? How come everyone knew if someone said Greta Thunberg? Yeah, she's a climate activist. Yeah, what's that have to do with Israel? And what's that have to do with Palestine? Zero. Okay. How do we all know where you're going to come down on this? Because you guys come down on the exact same place on the wrong side of every fucking story. That's the side you're on.
Yeah, it looks like she's branching out.
I don't even know if you know what you're doing at this point, is what I'm saying.
Well, I think that they were attempting to deliver aid to Gaza, where after more than 600 days of war, an 11-week Israeli blockade of all aid has pushed the enclave's 2.1 million people deeper into a hunger crisis.
And she was going to bring some
She's going to bring some snacks
over there?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she's going to film herself doing it the whole time?
That's the whole deal. They also, I know if you guys got the footage of her giving like a pre-released tape, if she does get captured, which she did, detained, I should say. She pre-released some type of hostage video for herself.
We should here's the video I would watch over the hostage video.
Yeah, okay.
I would watch Greta Thunberg's dad on 3 beers. And I just go, what do you think you're doing? He goes, that little bitch, fuck her. She's embarrassing the good name of Thunberg. He probably fucking hates it.
Solid accent.
Solid Mr. Tudball accent. The little bitch ain't fit to tie my shoes. Now give me another Jarlsberg. Grolsch. Give me another Grolsch. I don't know. Was Grolsch the beer, Dawson, that had the resealable top?
I believe so, yes. The one with the
I like where your head's at, but I've never cracked a beer, got halfway into it, and went, you know what? I think I hit my limit.
Well, as far as I remember, Grolsch wasn't easy going down, so you may have to take a break in between.
I've never had a beer where I was like, this is too much beer for this guy.
Well, you never had a Grolsch where you had to brush your teeth mid-beer.
Yeah. Yeah, Grolsch, yeah. Not around anymore, that Grolsch, right? Those weird bottle seals with that weird coat hanger bend and the snap thing. Those things must have been around from pirate days.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
To like 1977 and now gone.
Yeah.
You can still get Grolsch beer.
I can? Okay. Let's get a case of Grolsch going. All right, let's hear what Greta has to say. How dare you? How dare you?
I am from Sweden. My name is Greta Thunberg and I am from Sweden. If you see this video, we have been intercepted and kidnapped in international waters by the Israeli occupational forces or forces that support Israel. I urge all my friends, family and comrades to put pressure on the Swedish government to release me and the others as soon as possible.
Okay.
All right.
How'd she say her last name?
Thunberg.
See if you can find Mr. Tudball from the Carol Burnett show. I think we'll get a feel for Greta's dad.
What about the Swedish chef from Muppets?
You need Mr. I think Mr. Tudball.
Yeah.
Who? All right, I'll tell you that. But let me hear her last name one more time.
My name is Greta Thunberg, and I.
So she's not even close to Greta either, right? Her Greta isn't a Greta. Let's see.
My name is Greta Thunberg, and I'm Sweden.
Greta Thunberg.
It's not Greta. It's
Greta Thunberg.
Wordy goody egg douchey.
Mr. Tudball is from Carol Burnett. Yeah,
I remember this. Yeah.
You remember Mr.
Vaguely,
Tudball?
Yeah, vaguely.
Let's see if Mr. Tudball is here. Let's see if
you got you ain't the god. Well, I'm afraid that you'd have to take more than 150 words a minute there on the shorthand, because I talk so rapidly. That's why you'd have to do that. I'm sorry.
That's Greta Thunberg's dad, but that's also Tim Conway.
Boy, am I sorry. I tell you.
All right, got a little Tudball. I don't know. Is he? Who's Mr. Tudball supposed to be then? All right. We got one more story there?
Yeah, we definitely do. Hey, Mel Gibson begins the mammoth task of rebuilding his $14.5 million Malibu mansion after it was destroyed by the wildfires.
I got to tell you, I toured that whole place the other day just on my own. I just went down there over the weekend because the PCH is back open and blah, blah, blah. There's no building. Man, there is
Nothing?
zero.
Really?
No.
What?
Not even close.
It's been forever. Not one concrete truck, nothing.
There is many of the lots have been cleared. It's been 5 months, right? Yeah. Right at 5 months. Many of the lots have been cleared. Not every lot has been cleared, but many of the lots have been cleared. Up on my hill, the stuff's hanging off the side of the hill. They got the long reach arm excavator to get out there, pulled out. Stuff's cleared. Stuff's cleared on PCH. Stuff is still not cleared, but stuff is cleared. But there is 0.0 building. There is no fucking plywood. There's no 2x4s. I mean, I know what a job site looks like when they're building. I mean, I don't want to that sounds stupid, but what I'm saying is like when you start a job, traditionally, if you're doing a build, the first thing you get is a lumber drop. And the lumber drop, it's kind of interesting. You guys may not know how this works. I don't know. But you call up Terry Lumber or Anawalt Lumber, whatever it is, and you go, we need 100 10-foot 2x6s and 5 glulam beams 4x14 and 25 sheets of plywood and 150 2x4s or whatever. And it shows up on a flatbed truck. You've seen them driving around. And they don't unload the truck stick by stick. They do a drop.
Yeah.
Okay. The thing tilts back. It tilts back, and they pull forward, and you put some kickers on the ground so it doesn't sit in the wet.
Yeah.
You know, you take some scrap 4x4 and put it down so it sits up off the ground. The guy pulls it back and just pulls forward. It's called a drop. It's a lumber drop. And it's bound together by that great metal band, that weird black thin metal band. You got to cut it with the tin snips, and then it pops open.
Yeah.
And now you got enough lumber for the next 3 months. You can build away with what you got. I've not seen a lumber drop on any property. I've not seen any new foundation or concrete stuff. I mean, there's the existing stuff, which is burnt out. I know what new concrete looks like, or new forms. You have to form it. You have to excavate. You have to form. You have to pour the concrete. You have to put the rebar. There is nothing.
And this is in Malibu, California, where you got all the money in the world to do this.
There is nothing. There's zero building that I could see driving the full length of Malibu. I did not go crawl up in the hills of the Palisades, but I'm telling you, 5 months on, I'm seeing almost zero. I'm seeing zero building. I understand there's a picture of a house that's being built.
Well, this is the burnt out raised foundation of Mel Gibson's house. Apparently, they are doing some type of building here, but it's not major. Yeah.
No, what they did is they cleared it out.
Yeah.
And then what the Army Corps of Engineers does is they clear it out, and then they put those bales of like the net stocking of net of hay and whatever to stop runoff and erosion, and then they spray the top of the soil with what you're looking at, that green stuff. That's sprayed on to stop it from eroding when it rains.
Oh, I see.
So the Army Corps puts the I don't know what, picture a round pillow that's 50 feet long around the thing with the hay in it to get the water. They put a stake in it. Then they spray this aqua whatever on there to stop the shit from liquefying and running off. And then they oftentimes put a fence around it too. And I saw all that, but I saw zero building and I saw no cement trucks and no lumber trucks and no should be seeing caisson rigs up the wazoo. You should be seeing those big giant auger bit trucks that are drilling caissons. Didn't see any of those, just dump trucks.
Yeah,
so
well,
all they're doing is pulling shit out.
You should know this, that by the end of March, only four permits have been approved for homeowners wanting to rebuild. A number that was quickly criticized by local leaders, despite Mayor Karen Bass hailing it as a major milestone in the city's recovery.
Yeah, Karen Bass has no fucking idea what she's doing. She's in way over her head. She doesn't build stuff. She tears stuff down. She destroys shit. She burns shit. She doesn't build. She doesn't know how to build. So she has no idea what's going on. She doesn't know if it's good or bad, and she doesn't really care. I don't think at the end of the day, any city officials really give a shit. I don't know. The screen says turbo mulch, but it's the green stuff that's sprayed on. But when we met with our Army Corps of Engineers guys, I don't think he called it turbo.
Well,
mulch.
that sounds like the brand name, and this guy used generic.
Yeah. But either way, Mel's got his compound up there. I thought Mel had a church up there too, but I don't know. Not sure where it went. You have a Greta Thunberg mashup?
Yeah, we never use this for some reason, but I know it just got heated, and it's nice if we can calm down with one of these every now and then.
Okay.
My message is that we'll be watching you.
Sean Denver?
How dare you?
You fill up my senses.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school.
Like the mountains in springtime.
How dare you?
Like a walk in the rain.
You all come to us young people for hope.
Like a storm in the desert.
How dare you?
Like a sleepy blue ocean.
You have stolen my dreams with your empty words.
Fill up my senses.
How dare you?
Come fill me again.
How dare you?
Come, let me love
Yet, I'm one of the lucky ones.
Let me give my life to you.
Entire ecosystems are collapsing.
Let me drown in your laughter.
How dare you?
Let me die in your arms.
People are suffering. People are dying.
Let me lay down
How dare you? We are in the beginning of a mass extinction. And all you can talk about is money.
Come, let me love you.
How dare you?
Come love me again.
How dare you? How dare you pretend that this can be solved with just business as usual and some technical solutions? That remaining CO2 budget will be entirely gone within less than 8.5 years. And you are still not mature enough to tell it like it is. You are failing us, but the young people are starting to understand your betrayal.
Let me give my life to you.
How dare you? You say you hear us and that you understand the urgency. How dare you? How dare you continue to look away? But no matter how sad and angry I am, I do not want to believe that. Then you would be evil, and that I refuse to believe. The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you. We will not let you get away with this.
Like a sleepy blue ocean.
Right here, right now, is where we draw the line.
Fill up my senses.
The world is waking up.
Come fill me again.
And change is coming, whether you like it or not. How dare you? Thank you.
Wow. That's a masterpiece, Dawson.
Just reminded me, I used to date a Swedish nanny with the wonky eye.
Oh, really?
I should call her.
Yeah, I think you should reinvestigate that.
Yeah.
How
we got there, I don't know.
I don't know, but she's in.
She said, "How dare you?" And I remember that phrase.
I am so enamored with people who get indignant, especially about themselves. It's weird. Like, I don't even know when people, like, sometimes I've said to people, like, hey, you want to go do this or do that? And they go, no, I'm not going to do that. I wouldn't do that. And I go, wow, I can't believe you just said that. Like, it's weird when people go, I'm not doing that. I would say to people, like, I prefer to do this or I don't want to do that, but I've never gone, I'm not going. I'm not doing that. Like, even that's like too much, but how dare you? Like, at 16? When I was 16, I was like, I don't know, whatever you want. Well, you're the boss. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Righteous indignation.
Oh, man. Yeah, she's a delight. But whether it's her or fucking Al Gore or whomever, does any of this ever come true under their watch? Where is it? And why doesn't that bother them? John Edwards or whoever. It's like it never comes to fruition.
Wait, what you mean?
Okay, we're talking about Malibu, right?
Yeah.
They're talking about the sea rising for the last 40 years. If you go to one of the burnt out houses that's along PCH, it goes along the ocean. The ocean's the exact same place as it was on that pylon that's in the fucking dirt in the sand in front as it was in 1951 when they sunk it in there. So what's going on? Like, we're going to be consumed by the ocean, but this house was built in 1949.
In that mashup, you may have heard Greta Thunberg say in 8 years.
Yeah, you're right.
She made that speech 8 years ago.
There you go. Well, there you go, Greta. But anyway, you're off to the next catastrophe. All right. I'm going to be in Salt Lake City doing a bunch of shows this weekend, Friday and Saturday. 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday at Wise Guys. Come on out. The gang's going to all be there, and we'll say hi. Go to adamcarolla.com for all the live shows. Be in Vegas at Kimmel's Club on the 19th, doing a couple of shows as well. Mayhem, anything to plug for you?
Oh, man, mayhemnow.com. You can buy a sweet shirt. I got one for you, Ace. Don't worry.
Ooh, I was worried for a minute. So, till next time, Adam, Greta, for Mayhem, Sam, mahalo.